Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best? There is no second best.
This is Discover Crypto, and every day on the channel, we teach you how to make money with digital assets. And we have a major show today because Bitcoin smashing the all-time high over the weekend. And we got to talk about what altcoins are going to follow. And we have the formula. We're going to watch where the big money is heading as we see these altcoin ETFs have their final deadlines for the month of October. And I'm here with TJ. He just got done moving a couch, I think. TJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Blood is flowing. Prices are pumping. Everybody's feeling great. Had a great weekend watching all of our internet coins go up. Everybody's in a great mood. Yeah, feels good. More bullish than ever. Feels like feel very confident in my 200K prediction that I made years ago. I feel like we're going to see that play out, and even seeing more and more predictions of even higher numbers. And so nice for me to be the conservative one calling for 200K. So it's coming. If you guys have been watching for years and you've been talking about this as well, I'm sure you're all in a great mood. So smash that like button early. It definitely helps the YouTube overlords who do not like all the truth that we spill on this channel. We're not necessarily careful with our words as much these days. So they've definitely suppressed us a bit, but if you guys could help us out, smash the likes for all time high. And hey, Steve-O's back. We haven't seen you in a while, buddy. I hope you're doing well. So
we got some Solana news specifically for the Solana maxis out there, but let's look at the rest of the Bitcoin market right now. Let's look at the 5-minute chart. This is actually a 12-minute chart. You can see Bitcoin trying to flirt with a new all-time high. We hit this Saturday evening, Sunday morning, depending on what time zone you're in. And you can see Bitcoin very, very close to just breaking this resistance. And then after that, full-blown price discovery. We love seeing price discovery on Bitcoin. Now, when we zoom out, you can see we have still tested a little bit of room to the upside on this trend line. We have a little bit of a megaphone pattern. And so we have not only all-time high, beckoning us with this little bit of a wick, but also the resistance right here. And I think this resistance needs to be turned into support. I think there's going to be a lot of people shorting Bitcoin. The second we get right here, they're going to open their shorts, but these shorts are going to get wrecked if we can push a little bit of positive momentum. And so that gives us a little bit of hopium, a little bit of fuel as these shorts probably are going to be created. TJ, what are your thoughts on the leverage once we get to this trend line?
No, I agree. The shorts are going to get wrecked, and this is the part of the cycle. I was actually thinking about this this morning. There's obviously there's a little bit of a CME gap because we pumped over the weekend, but we're getting into the part of the cycle where you guys have to remember Bitcoin's the honey badger. It does what it wants. It doesn't care, and especially at this phase of the cycle, there's going to be plenty of TA. This is, we're overheated and we're ready for a pullback and people are ready to short. And yeah, sure. Anytime you get near all-time high, people open up shorts, and it's paid off somewhat sometimes, but generally speaking, it's going to just be using that as rocket fuel. So the more shorts that pile up, the easier it is for those to get liquidated, and that just becomes a pump to the upside. So I think especially there's a lot of different things going on, obviously on the macro level with government shutdowns and seeing the momentum of gold. Some people think like, oh man, the amount of money it's going to take from Bitcoin to go to 125 to 200 or 300 is so much money. But if you look at how much money has gone into gold just in the last 6 months, it's trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. So
I didn't realize that daily wick looked like that. Yeah, daily candle.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, wow. We are $50 away from $4,000 an ounce here.
Yep. And that was exactly what we were saying, is we thought that around 4,000 is when gold would start to calm down, and then Bitcoin comes charging back and closes that gap, because Bitcoin and gold have been, Bitcoin has performed similarly and outperformed gold recently. And if you believe that it's correlated to the gold and correlated to the M2 money supply, then the best part for Bitcoin is yet to come, because the M2 is still going, gold is still going. We see investors go there as a safe haven first, but especially with less and less trust in government and fiat currencies right now, money is flying into Bitcoin, which is obviously great for the overall ecosystem, seeing the BNB ecosystem doing very well. BNB at an all-time high right now. Aster and a lot of those other ones in that ecosystem also performing extremely well. So love to see it. And yeah, I mean, like I said, all of our coins are up. It's a new joke my wife and I talking about, like, can't be in a bad mood today. All your coins are up, like what's
yeah, we might have some
good.
potential breaks out too. People looking at this total 3 ES chart, this total everything outside of the top 10, excluding stable coins here. And if you see, we pointed out this bearish or bullish divergence on the 4-hour chart. TJ, I actually kind of back tested this and I liked what I saw, because a lot of people, we're not at a breakout point just yet. You can kind of see cup and handle. We yet to even hit the trend line here. But if you go to the 4-hour and you look at the last time we had a strong bullish divergence on the 4-hour candles, you're going to see it was about a year ago. It was November 2024. And November 2024 was the last large breakout for altcoins. You can see a perfect textbook example of a bullish divergence. And I just wanted to measure this move here. So this is the last time we saw something similar in the charts. Alts would break out, excluding stable coins, it would pump 126%. And if you look at the current breakout right now, remember, 126%. Right now, we are only 17% into this move. So there's still a lot of room to the upside. In fact, it leaves this screen. It is so bullish.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and I saw somebody in the chat saying, when are alts going to wake up? And I know for better or worse, a lot of people are over allocated into altcoins, do not hold enough Bitcoin. So I get super excited when I see Bitcoin going up, and everybody else is like, yeah, but what about my altcoins? And I would say, like, obviously they have been moving. I mean, you've got 100%, 70, 60, 50. These are altcoins that have all gone up substantially in the last week, but that what you just showed with that others chart, that's very, very bullish. And like you said, when it happens fast and it's violent. You guys have heard.
Yeah. Let's to that point. Look how violent the moves to the upside are. This is 2021. This is the bull run. Then you can see we did have a strong pullback during the summer, and then another giant and violent move there. And then the November move that from 2024, we were just pointing out, very violent, very sudden. And so we might just begin in the beginning innings here.
And that's like 4 to 6 weeks on both of those, or definitely on that one right there. It looks like about.
This was actually about a month there. That's about 30 days. And if we look here, 46. And then this one, I mean, you had a quick move here. That was about a month and about 6 weeks. And then, once you combine all of the violent moves there, sudden moves, you're looking at a very, very short time window for you to lock in. And I would say highly recommend, make sure you're following this channel. Make sure you hit the like button. Go ahead, smash those likes, and then turn on those notifications, because we've been putting out some bangers for some uploads here, call the moves of the markets. And I'm just ready to talk about the downside too, though. We got a lot of upside here, though, still ahead of us here. But I do want to look at the alts that are losing. TJ brought up a good point. There are a lot of coins that are moving pretty strong. You see Aster moving. We're going to talk about the Aster listing on Binance and how a lot of people they're just lambs led to the slaughter.
BNB said it's Astober is what he said. That's the season. So
yeah, no comment on that one. Pump.fun is down 6.1, and Double Zero looking like it's trying to trend to zero. No, and Athena with a little bit of move down, actually DCA'd a little into some Chainlink today. If I would have checked the market, I might have done Athena had I seen that beforehand. But I want to show this. This is pretty interesting. Don't want to be this guy, but how often do you see a monthly candle without a bottom wick? Bitcoin must correct first and then push higher. I didn't really think about that. That first day of the month was the exact bottom thus far. Is this a thing that Bitcoin can do? Is this a thing that happens often? So we went to the monthly candles here, and sure enough, TJ, there is literally no wick there. If it is, it's a millimeter. So when is the last time we saw a green monthly candle with no wick to the downside? We got to go ways. I'm not going to count that one. I still see a wick. Look at that, TJ. The beginning or the end of the bear market here. This is January 2023. This is after we basically spent 12 months declining. And right there was the last time we saw this replicated in the chart. So just another nice little bullish signal right here.
Yeah, that's
another close one right there. Also very bullish.
That's extremely bullish. So I think we do continue to see a very bullish October. We've been talking about it for a while, and November. I'm interested. I do believe it could potentially correct at some point. I'm just curious to see when, especially when you looked at the longer we get into a government shutdown. I'm kind of curious to see, will that end up delaying some of the ETFs? if we get 2-3 weeks into this, what happens? I haven't even looked at the news if there's any.
Yeah, it'll give
any of
time
that
for the
stuff.
Bears essentially to claim victory and say, we told you so. But really, it's just going to be bearishness from the altcoins out there. And I would say you're going to see something kind of like this to the Bears. That's what's going to happen to the Bears. They're just going to get blasted, everybody. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin here. Bloomberg just said, to TJ's point, talking about a shutdown, the government shutdown is driving investors to Bitcoin as a safe haven, saying Bitcoin is the new gold. Maybe a little weird saying that as gold is blasting to new all-time highs, but the rally fueled by the shutdown and some other macro factors here. So we breached new all-time high over the weekend, prompting analysts to call for 150K before the end of the year. Now, supported by multiple factors, including the recent shutdown, first one since 2018. Make sure you watch our upload on the government shutdown, which some analysts say renewed interest in Bitcoin's store of value role. In the past, similar conditions have led to major price milestones here. However, the extent of the shutdown's tailwind effect on the crypto market ultimately depends on how it influences the Fed's perspective on the interest rate decisions here. Some analysts view the recent growth as a sign of new accumulation phase by the large entities. On-chain data suggests a decline in the selling pressure from the whales. Let's double click on the whale selling here. So the open interest reset sharply after last week's option expiry, which set the stage for a fourth quarter, according to Glassnode. So we got way too bullish, and then basically we had to slow down. We had to reset this open interest. TJ, this is kind of what you see every single local bottom. You see, Bitcoin new all-time high, started to decline. People started going really long on it, like, oh, okay, this is definitely the bottom. This orange line going up is open interest going higher. This is people betting on it. Oh, I'm going long here. Well, look at that big drop in the price. Liquidated all those longs. So the open interest reset allowed Bitcoin to go to new, higher and higher and higher. Then it happened again. Open interest reset, giving Bitcoin that fuel to go higher and higher. So we're seeing the open interest kind of acting as a catalyst because people are just being too greedy out there, and the exchanges aren't going to lose money to these people opening these longs.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So basically what you're saying is if everybody stops trying to use leverage longs, that's when Bitcoin can go up. I mean, I was literally saying that, and that always happens. Once everybody gets wiped out, the order books get cleared, then you see that big measured move up. So it isn't easy to do. I do see Paul Kirk super chat here near price prediction. We'll try to look at that a little bit later in the show. Got some news to cover, but we will.
Yeah, we're going to start. We're going to answer some questions towards the end here. Also, enter Bitcoin address for the night airdrop says not eligible. 3 Bitcoin and wallet. Why is this such a pain in the butt? It is a wallet provider issue, so you're gonna have to message or DM that wallet provider, be like, hey, you got to get on this, you got to get on that night airdrop. So that is why they extended it, and we covered that a little bit. The new extension date again in last night's video. We're giving you folks the alpha there. All right, now let's look at the whale holdings. Want to focus on the whale. This is Bitcoin total whale holdings and monthly change. Quentin, whales sold a lot of coins, and the price pumped. But if you zoom in, look at that. So initially looking at you see, oh my God, the purple. The whales are dumping. But the last few days, whales have been accumulating heavily. This purple is a month-over-month change. So when you see that, this is a lot lower than what they had 30 days prior. And now they're starting to get back to accumulation phase. If you zoom out a little bit, you can see here, the whales, they get done acquiring. And then, basically they start dumping their Bitcoin. And then we can see a nice little price action. But then as we hit a new all-time high, dumping their Bitcoin, causing a little bit of price correction. Now I feel like the whales, they feel sidelined. And now they're starting to jump back in, signaling maybe another huge leg to the upside here, TJ.
Yeah. That was another interesting thing I saw was apparently Saylor indicated that MicroStrategy hasn't really been buying, or, they didn't buy it all last week. So a lot of this move is coming without, one of the at least most obvious whales in the chat has not been accumulating more recently. So that is another good sign. And I really do think we're going to see major governments come out with an accumulation plan. I do think we're going to see the United States announce some type of accumulation plan next year at some point, sometime in 2026. That'll be my 26 prediction. But yeah, I mean, lots and lots and lots of signs to the upside. Many people accumulating and much more aggressively. We've got all these treasury companies coming out. We've got a lot of aggressive accumulation coming out of Asia, and I think it was Japan has a new prime minister now.
All this accumulation, you know what it's leading to?
What's that?
Balance on exchanges declining, man. We're just in sync today, TJ. We're in sync. You keep setting me up for this next article. You're not even trying. All right, Bitcoin powers to 125K peak as the balance is falling to a 6-year low. And so the amount has plunged as Bitcoin climbs to a new all-time high. And most people, I love this Nate Garassi quote here. Bitcoin hits new all-time high, and most people still don't even know what Bitcoin is. If Bitcoin's able to convincingly break 126,500, then the chances are a price go a lot higher and quickly, said Rec Capital right here. Now, total Bitcoin on exchanges fell to a 6-year low, 2.83 million Bitcoin, according to Glassnode. Last time there's fewer coins stored was June 2019, when we were trading around $8,000 during the depths of a bear market. Now, blockchain analytics firm CryptoQuant has even lower exchange figure, 2.45 million compared to their 2.8 million here, which puts it at a 7-year low. While Bitcoin moves off centralized exchanges into self-custody, institutional funds, or these digital asset treasuries, it suggests holders, they're keeping their coins long-term rather than selling them. I think I zoom in on the chart right here. Yeah, you can see here, exchanges is falling and falling and falling. Last time we've seen this, I mean, we're exceeding the dip right here. Yeah, this was during basically the huge run-up phase when Bitcoin kind of hit that price discovery, hit 20K. People realize, oh, maybe this is a real asset. Maybe I'll go ahead, and also maybe some exchanges went down. So people are like, all right, maybe self-custody is the way here. So this is from Van Eck, head of digital assets, Matthew Siegel. Hearing exchanges are out of Bitcoin. Monday, 9:30 a.m. might be the first official shortage, not financial advice. Just might make sense to get some. Mike Alfred said, I just got off a 20-minute call with the guy, him, who runs the most important OTC desk, is over-the-counter desk. People sell Bitcoin, so you don't see the price action on exchanges. He says at the current pace, they will be out of Bitcoin to sell within 2 hours of futures opening tomorrow, unless the price pumps to 126 to 129. Things are getting wild, TJ. What are your thoughts on this OTC rumor? Real?
Who knows? Maybe it could have been a little tongue in cheek. You never know with those X posts, but I do think it's relevant. I do think they are running low, especially like he said, unless prices pump to certain levels, and they've got sellers there. But I think the exchanges are running out, and I agree with what you're saying. More and more people are putting it into a forever hold basket. More and more people see this as a hedge. You know, people like Nate Gerasi and others that are, you know, very connected with the wealth management space are telling their clients, you need to get some exposure to this. If you have exposure to gold, you need to have some exposure to Bitcoin. And I'm seeing it all around with people putting money. They're getting some that they will hold forever. They have no intention of selling it for at least 10 years. And I think we're going to $1 million Bitcoin, and a lot of other people are coming to that same conclusion. And so if you believe Bitcoin's going to $1 million, you're not buying it at 115 and trying to sell it at 125. Oh yeah, there you go. The Uber driver.
Yeah, the Uber driver said it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think could have been a little.
He was in Dubai.
Yeah, hey, so probably connected Uber driver, but you know, I'm seeing it all around me, both with people that have been in the space a long time and other people that have been considering it for a long time. We know that we're talking about another stimulus here in the United States. I know that was a big onboarding event for a lot of people. Woke up a ton of people in the U.S. to the way money is created, or the lack of controls on the fiat system. So I think, yeah, I'm not surprised at all to hear that there's a shortage on exchanges. I'm not surprised to hear that OTC desks are having a harder time filling, especially those large orders. Just if you think about just the treasury companies out there that are battling, I think the next thing we start to see it, you know, I don't know about this year, but in the near future, we'll start to see acquisitions of all these treasury companies. You know, MicroStrategy tries to acquire a MetaPlanet or you know, several of these other ones. I don't know about those two; those are kind of the larger ones. But you'll see. One of them happened last week. We covered it. I can't remember which one. Semler Scientific, I think, got acquired by a different one, and that's going to be the next strategy, because the smartest, savviest investors, most wealthy people in the world are all trying to get as much Bitcoin as they can, as fast as they can. And as soon as one of those wealthy people gets told, I'm sorry, we're out. We can't fill your order at that price. That's when real FOMO kicks in. When the oil sheiks and the sovereign money gets told, oh, you want to buy 1,000, or 10,000 Bitcoin? Sorry, you can't, or not unless you're going to go way up on your price. And then they'll say, okay, whatever the price is, I want it and I want it now, because that's where the real money is. People underestimate how much money there is in the world. And like I said earlier in the show, if you don't think this is possible, just look at how fast gold, the number one asset, has gone from 10 trillion to 20 trillion. There are trillions and trillions of dollars out there right now. So for Bitcoin to go up a couple $1 trillion more, the whole market cap of crypto is $4 trillion. Bitcoin around 2.5. So another 2.5 on Bitcoin will be, we'll be sitting at 250,000 Bitcoin before you know it. It's going to happen fast.
Real fast, real fast. Now, DZ, you look like a baddie in a crime movie. Yeah, I was the 8th guy that John Wick eliminated in the latest sequel. What do you believe will follow the Binance narrative? No one knows for sure, Clayton Trimble, but I would be, if I had to put money on it, I think a Solana narrative could easily follow the BNB narrative. That's just really not putting too much insight into it. It's just people are going to go down to the next market cap.
Well, think about it. Binance, part of what's going to be spurring on at least retail interest is they're starting to get meme coins popping off in the BNB ecosystem. And what else is known for meme coins? The Solana ecosystem. So yeah, I that makes a lot of sense. And Solana, again, still hasn't run, nearing all-time highs. Once something's at an all-time high and pushing an all-time high, that's when you start to see fireworks happening.
And we'll look at the near chart nearly towards the end, folks. I ain't forgot about the near chart, everybody. Can't touch a coin till 29, just Bitcoin, folks. Bitcoin, maybe Chainlink. Do you have what altcoin, if you couldn't touch it till 2029, would you get?
Oh, that's such a tough one. If it was a altcoin, it would probably be Chainlink that I would hold on to for the.
There you go, folks. All right, now I'm not going to touch on this story too much. Probably going to dedicate tonight's upload because there's a huge debt situation as far as what we're seeing globally here. But Bitcoin hits all-time high. Is USD on the track for the worst year since 1973? So it's going to require a little bit of a deeper analysis. A lot of it is kind of coming from this Kobayashi letter thread here, is widespread rush into assets right now. As inflation rebounds and labor market weakens, Fed is cutting rates, and now the dollar is on the worst track for a year since 1973. 50 years, everybody, and it's down 10% year to date. The USD has lost 40% of its purchasing power since the year 2000. And looking at every single year, the past 50 years, essentially, it is the worst of the squiggle lines, everybody. So not great what we're seeing there. Worst year in decades. Super hyped for the Saturday. Got to meet the governor of Florida and want to ask him about some crypto news. I get to meet the Florida governor. Here's what I would say, Tech Bro. Tech Bro, you're not going to hit him with a gotcha crypto question or get some sort of insight like, what's the next altcoin in the Florida Strategic Reserve? He's not going to answer anything. He's going to give you a glib response. I would just say use this opportunity, get your picture, and, shoot your shot if you want to, volunteer or get a job. He's not going to give you any alpha. He's just going to give you a glib politician answer, though.
Yeah. But DeSantis, one of the more pro really Bitcoin governors out there, and Florida obviously known for a lot of that. So
have him sign a pair of shoes that are lifts.
That's savage.
No,
savage.
Too much.
No,
too much.
I don't think that's
like
going to go very well. Yeah, I don't think that's going to go very well if you're trying to get any kind of volunteer work in the future.
No. Yeah, can I, volunteer at your next campaign? No, DeSantis, though, I have shared my thoughts on him. I think DeSantis is great policy. Obviously, he's a great governor. He will never, ever, ever be president. Unfortunately, it is nothing due to him. It's just his genetics. He is too short, and he has whiny voice. And just from a persuasion, standpoint, when you hear whiny voice, you don't think leader. And he's like the epitome of whiny voice. And I'm not saying he's a whiny guy. He just, in Florida, he has that whiny voice, and it's just not going to work, unfortunately. He'll never win. What do you think? Is that fair?
To be honest, I don't really even know. I don't follow politics enough to keep up with
it.
I don't disagree with you, but I don't really have enough insight to say one way or the other. I did see one of our members asking about looking at the ETH BTC chart as well. Maybe we could check that out at some point in the show.
All right, let's I can pull it up right here. Oh, no, that's my near chart. I can't interrupt the near chart there. All right, ETH, BTC. We're just going to look at the Binance pair here. And all right. So we bounce. I see a little almost like a little head and shoulders forming right there. So maybe there's going to be a little bounce that we're waiting for. Oh yeah, the RSI is looking really, really good. Getting some strong, signals on the RSI. You can see, the price is heading slightly higher, but I would say is much more pronounced on the RSI here. We had a cool down. You can see, the bearish divergences pushing us down, but that is a normal thing that you see in the ETH BTC uptrends. You'll regularly see the RSI in the overbought territory, and you'll regularly see it smash past bearish divergences just left and right center. Bullish though, bullish. I mean,
Yeah, it really is.
Still in the throes of alt season. A lot of people are making pretty scary predictions for Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance is going to crush. It's going to crush. I think I was a lot more aligned, to agree a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I feel like everybody started saying that. And so I think that's when the alts are going to take charge here, folks.
Yeah, I mean, again, guys, this is the part of the cycle. The more or less the way this works is Bitcoin makes a significant move, cools off, altcoins catch up, and I maybe pull up the Bitcoin dominant charts.
I got it right here.
In a minute. Yeah,
again, we're just in sync today.
Yeah, and I think that's going to happen. So, like, obviously, if Bitcoin goes from 125 to 150, dominance will tick up in that process, and then it will cool off and it'll fall back down as the altcoins go. And even if you look at on coin market cap, I like looking at this altcoin index up here, 65 out of 100. Now, if you don't think this is alt season, you're not paying attention. There's a lot, 65 out of the top 100 coins have outperformed Bitcoin in the last 90 days. That's alt season. I mean, even right now, Ethereum up 2%, compared to 1%, 10% in the last week compared to 9%. So that's not dramatic. I know that's not what a lot of people like to think about when they think about alt season, but that's what's going on. And then when you look at the dominance is, it can definitely, when it
shut down.
Yeah. When it falls fast and then it grinds back up. So I think like you see, like look at that fall off a cliff, and then it'll just grind back up. And I think that will continue to happen. We'll see, how long has it been going down? Like, what's that last red can,
these are weeklies that we're looking at right here.
So yeah, so it's been falling for the last 4 or 5 weeks or longer,
more
8 weeks. Yeah. So that is alts getting life and getting a bid. And then obviously what we're seeing right now is that move back up for Bitcoin. So it'll move probably back.
It's kind of what we saw last cycle too. You can see it. Where is it? Right here. I have Heiken-Ashi candles, so it's not going to show as many greens. If we go to regular candles, you'll see a little bit better there. Yeah. Bitcoin dominance, kind of fake some people out. You can see a lot of chopping action, no leg down, fake some people out, then, still continue to go a little bit lower. And then Bitcoin dominance then found its floor. And you can see just, regular move to the upside here. Oh, that start of this weekly candle, though, starting to look good. Starting to look good for altcoins specifically.
For altcoins, yeah. I mean, and Bitcoin as well. But like if you're an altcoin maximalist, what you want to see is Bitcoin to hold 125 all week, and then you will see altcoins run. And then in another week or two, if Bitcoin moves up to 150 and stays put, what you don't like to see is these steady moves up, which I do think Bitcoin has moved into a much more mature zone where we are seeing a much more structured move up. It's not just a violent move up and then a chill, and there's supports to the downside. Like, even if we were going to pull back a little bit on Bitcoin, probably be around 110. That's not as dramatic. And there's levels there, there's CME gaps there, there's liquidations there, there's reasons to get there. And then if it went to 110, I think we'd go back to 130, 135 pretty fast. So obviously what if you're altcoins heavy, you don't want to see Bitcoin go back to 110 because altcoins get crushed during that process. So this is why we always advise to have part of your portfolio in Bitcoin. I still have a substantial amount of my portfolio in Bitcoin because when you do see those moves, it's kind of like your hedge. It's if you want to equate it to equities, you need to be in the Mag 7, and then you take your speculative shots on smaller things. You believe
the barbell strategy.
Yeah, exactly. You want to explain that to people just so they
get it? For those who don't know, the barbell strategy is kind of, you have a risk tolerance, very, very low risk on one side, that'd be like a Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then you have everything in the middle. And then you have the real risky things on the other end. So your barbell strategy would be heavy bets on the low risk strategy and the high risk strategy while avoiding most of the medium risk strategy. And it creates a barbell effect. So you have heavy weighted here, heavy weighted there.
And it's beautiful. This works with the Mag 7 or Bitcoin when your lower risk strategy is also one of the best performing assets in the world. Like if you just buy and hold Bitcoin, you're outperforming every hedge fund in existence. So, it's really not that low, not that high risk at all. And it's high growth. If you can get
Looking
low
for my
risk, high growth.
tungsten.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
you
you
got
go.
the tungsten cube. This is my curl barbell strategy. I with like 7 grams of tungsten. Get my set in,
Yeah, there you go.
We got some tungsten people in the chat. Hit that like button if you got some tungsten. I want the tungsten holders to reveal themselves, everybody. Now, Morgan Stanley, unfortunately, revealed their strategy. This is huge. Special report for Morgan Stanley. We aim to support our financial advisors and clients who flexibly allocate to crypto as part of their multi-asset portfolios. Meanwhile, they advise 16,000 people manage $2 trillion in savings and wealth. So this is kind of, if you double click on it, it's for their opportunistic growth portfolio. So analysts at Morgan Stanley recommend 4% allocation for the opportunistic growth portfolio, which are structured for higher risk, higher returns. Now, a balanced growth portfolio, which is going to be the most portfolios out there, they are recommending a 2% allocation for Bitcoin. But if you're, let's just say wealth and preservation, if you're in wealth preservation, they're saying a 0% allocation for portfolios. But 4%, 2% still just is a sign of things to come here, getting more and more bullish. But let's talk about what altcoins are going to follow gold, follow Bitcoin. Where's this capital heading? Where are they starting to pour their money in? Well, I think a good indicator is going to be the ETFs. Mark Davis posting this is going to be a huge week for Solana specifically. Solana ETF approval is just 4 days away. High chance we're going to get the approval this week. We're going to talk about the Grayscale approval that just happened as well. That's very bullish. But if you look at all the different altcoins, Solana and XRP, a huge amount of firms have filed for these S1s for these spot crypto ETFs here. And we're starting to see a lot of, let's just say, deadlines coming to fruition. Solana, 4 days away. XRP, a week after that. Dogecoin, also the same time as XRP, and then Cardano a week after Dogecoin. And then November, we got some more. We got Polkadot, HBAR, Barbarians. Are you in the chat? We also got AVAX, SWI, Tron, and Pingu. Although I'm not putting that one at high odds though. Now, I mean, if I'm in Vegas, TJ, I had a bet. I'm saying I think we're getting a Solana ETF in 4 days, man.
Yeah. Well, that was so do you have any insight if the government shutdown affects any of those deadlines or not?
We are seeing indications that it is going to slow down. We don't know if the shutdown is going to go like as long as it did in 2018 to 2019. That was 35 days. The one before that, though, was 3 days. One before that was 18 hours. I have seen some rumors. No one knows for sure. We are going to see a resolution early this week. But again, Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi or heck, Donald Trump. I mean, someone could shut it down pretty quickly. Yeah, I love Solana. It's one of my biggest bags.
Yeah,
definitely one of my biggest bags.
I do think we see Solana ETF in October. I don't know, like you said, if it gets moved a week or 2 weeks on those exact dates, and I do think that is also going to be more rocket fuel for some of that next alt season. I think we see Solana, HBAR wouldn't surprise me, XRP, even I think Cardano sneaks in there. A lot of the ones in the top 10, and I do think we're going to start to see more and more products. We're going to see it, just like you get an index fund in equities, you're going to get an index fund of the top 10 to 20 digital assets. Now there might be some exclusions for US or non-US over here. So again, the most fun part is here. So if you guys have been along for the ride, if you've been very patient, that's the most important part. And I want to remind you guys still to remain patient. The best investors in the world are very good at doing nothing for long periods of time. And in crypto, a long period of time is like 4 minutes. So, if you guys have made it 4 years, I'm happy for you. But like to regular investors, that's like 20 years, So just don't jump the gun, remain patient, smash the likes too. We have thousands of people here still, we should have thousands of likes. If you guys appreciate us bringing you all this information, if you guys don't know, I mean, we get up early, we read the news, we pull all this stuff together. This doesn't just happen automatically. We actually do put good effort into this. And, we could just sit at our computers and stare at our coins and click buttons like a lot of other people, but we do try to put this information together for you guys in a succinct way, so that way we don't waste your time and you get all the relevant news for the day, because there's a lot of it in crypto. So smash.
Don't say no AVAX. No, that is in December. We're going to get the December decision there for Avalanche there.
Yeah, we were just talking about
Avalanche.
The first ones, the ones we think are coming in October, and I definitely think it's Solana, HBAR, XRP are going to be the ones that we see first, outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, which we already have.
All right, now good show. Hey, you're the good audience. You're the great audience. Fantastic audience. Disco fam is unparalleled out there. The only thing making it easy and natural is your guys' participation. We really do appreciate it there. I need some ADA stuff. I don't know if I'm a cover Cardano. Look, I can't do it every day, or can I? I don't know. We'll see. Stick around.
You
All right,
but you did a video yesterday, right?
Stake to DZ pool. There you go. All right. Now let's talk about, we're talking about where's the altcoin money flowing? Where's that gold and Bitcoin money going to flow? So we kind of looked at the ETFs, but I think there's a better way, and it's actually to pocket watch. Let's actually pocket watch the big VC firms, these big investment firms. So when we go pocket watch, that's when things start getting revealed here. Crypto funds smashing records with almost $6 billion in inflows amid the shutdown concerns here. So this is just $6 billion in the inflows last week. Bitcoin led the race here. 3.6 of the 6 was to Bitcoin amid concerns about this government shutdown here. And so crypto ETFs or ETPs passed the previous record mid-July when it was $4.4 billion. Now, mid-July, very interesting. I want to share here. Mid-July was the last time we had a huge dip in the crypto prices. Now, you remember what happened after that? We had a nice little run up, and then we had another dip early August, which then reset the open interest. You can see everybody getting liquidated here. So this is the 4th of July dip. I can't really see right before it, but 4th of July, it was a holiday weekend. Markets got wrecked. Bitcoin was wrecked. Altcoins got wrecked. 4th of July, 2024 was a hellscape. Sorry, 2025. It was rough, man. Then, July started to creep back up. And then they had a reset at the beginning of August. But after that, open interest, I don't think it has been that low since. Now, if you go back here, so mid-July was the last time we saw massive inflows. So I think what happened is big money starting to came in, people got too bullish, just like they did in July. Okay, Wall Street's here, let's long everything. What ended up happening? You have to get that corrective flush. Maybe that last corrective flush was the corrective flush. Maybe we'll get a small one. I just want to put that on your radar. It might get one more corrective flush because of the money inflows, because of the breaking amount here. But now let's get into the weeds here. So ETH ETFs, 1.5 billion. Solana, 700 million. XRP, 200 million. So this is where big money is putting their money. This is where they're parking their actual cash. Now we could actually see the flows here, month to date. Week to date is going to be the more important one. After XRP, Solana, ETH, really not too much. I mean, you see a little bit on SWI, a little bit on Litecoin, a little bit on Cardano, a little bit on Chainlink. So if you want some extra exposure, I think this would be on the, this is kind of the middle of the barbell, but these are going to be the riskier bets here. SWI, Litecoin, Cardano, or Chainlink. So you might see a lot of little action here over the coming months. Now, ETH, like we covered that here. Now, the crypto ETPs historic inflows come as the SEC is shutting down operations. So to answer your question from earlier, this is sparking concerns over delays over the ETFs here. According to Eleanor Terrett, SEC can still act on fraud market emergencies, but it is expected to introduce some work delays. Eric Balchunas, he's saying it's just like a rain delay. It's just a rain delay here. So we don't know how long this rain delay is going to last. Is it going to rain for another month? Is it going to stop raining today? As far as this government shutdown, no one knows for sure. But that's essentially the rules of the road. That's what we're looking at right here.
We got
I love just the thought of, all right, now that we've reset just recently, maybe it's just going to be up and to the right after that recent reset.
No, it could. It could be a good time. I like the way you describe it. Rain delays, like these things are coming. But we've got breaking news from the chat. Just want to go ahead and mention on channel favorite Plume, just on basically just ripped 20-30% here in the last few minutes. So getting a nice bid there. Obviously, you zoom out, it's could be going back up to 13 cents pretty fast. But Plume, that RWAs, I think is going to continue to be a hot niche within the sector. You heard me mention XLM a little bit later or earlier. HBAR, they all fit in that RWA section of the meta here. I think we're going to still see The top meta rotations I think we're going to see this cycle, obviously Bitcoin, we're going to, that's the number one thing you're going to see, but then you're also going to see RWAs. You will see an AI run, and I believe DeFi is heavily where I'm allocated as well. So DeFi and RWA is kind of adjacent. AI, I just think, is getting a bid just because a lot of people are interested in it. Even if they don't understand it, they just want to put money into it. So those are the rotations, and those are the areas I'm focusing my capital when it comes to altcoins. You want to have capital within things that are in the meta. So we talked about at the top of the show how Binance and the BNB ecosystem is kind of the meta right now. Those are the altcoins that are running. That's the ecosystem that's running. We think Solana ecosystem is going to run soon. But specifically, if I'm looking for altcoins within the Solana ecosystem, things like virtuals, things that have an AI angle to them, because I think AI is a hot niche as well, or things that have a DeFi angle to them. Obviously, that's kind of infrastructure in Solana, like Radium, Jupiter, Jitto, those sorts of things. That's where my capital is. I do hold Plume. I do hold, I don't know if we have any, I don't think I have any HBAR, but Plume is one of my RWA plays, and it's one of those riskier lower caps. I mean, obviously it's number 172. If you look at coin market cap, this is not a huge market cap, and it is somewhat of a risk, but these are the ones when you zoom out on this, once it can break past some of these levels, 20 cents, what's the all-time high, 23 cents, these are the ones that you can see make very, very explosive gains if they continue to get a bid. So that's one to keep an eye on for you guys.
All right, yeah, and that would be on the higher end of that risk curve. Yeah, looking at RWA.XYZ, this covers all the real world assets out there, and yeah, this trend is accelerating. This trend is not slowing down. You will see Plume on there. So kind of look at the higher you are on the market cap rankings. That's, I think, lower is when things start looking pretty exciting here. Asset count. What I really like about Plume, no one, as far as when you start getting lower, is close to Plume's 160 different assets that they can collateralize there. So pretty significant, pretty impressive there, I would say. So
yeah,
we go RWA.XYZ if you want to look yourself.
Yeah, scroll up to the top of that real quick, because it's just look at that that overall graph and how fast that's exploded. I mean, those are billions and billions since 2024. Yeah, just this part right here. Yeah, that's May, August. So really January 25 is when we really started to see it take off, but really even halfway through right there, March 25. I mean, it's been going exponentially up to, what is that, almost $300 billion now. That's crazy.
Well, 20 billion here, but yeah, it's very, very bullish. And as we get more clarity, this isn't slowing down. It's going to keep accelerating.
Scroll up a little bit. What is that? 292.57 billion. That's the stable coin market cap. Oh yeah, 20 billion RWAs. There it is. And up 20% in the last 30-day on transfer volume. Look at that transfer volume over there. 92 billion in RWA transfers. So the volume is generally indicative of obviously activity on the chain, and price likes to follow volume. So great.
All right, now we do have some bullish Solana news, everybody. Grayscale adding staking to ETH and Solana investment products in the U.S. is the first here. So it's going to allow investors to earn rewards while participating in the security of those networks, because these are proof of stake chains. So offering staking through ETPs, Grayscale is the first firm to provide this feature in the U.S. there. So congrats, Grayscale. Now, the ETH has 4.82 billion in net assets, while the mini trust is 3.3. The Solana, significantly smaller, but is still, I would say an impressive 120 million in assets under management. And if you don't know, if you're newer to crypto, staking is essential how proof of stake blockchains like ETH and Solana operate. Users stake their funds, and it helps validate transactions and keep the network secure, and you earn tokens in return. And again, if you stake on Cardano, stake with DZ, you're going to get some Night token as well. So congrats on ETH holders and Solana holders. I do expect this to really accelerate once other firms besides Grayscale offer this. Grayscale historically has high fees, and so that's why you're seeing Grayscale, not be as popular as, say, a BlackRock or a Van Eck ETF here. But this is a very, very significant for Solana. It's going to be a sign of things to come for sure. Now, going to the ETFs here, looking at the odds, high odds for Litecoin. Litecoin now sitting at 94%, Cardano at 93%, and Pepe at 9%. I think they took the Solana one down. I'm guessing they're kind of counting some of this, so it has been resolved, if you will, there. And then after that, you can see some nice just ETH flipped in 2025. That's a guaranteed no. It's definitely going to be no there. U.S. Treasury transactions on the blockchain. So some of these looking pretty exciting. I like the ETH prediction one. Let's see. Not a lot of people betting on 5K. Oh, that's by October 12th. Okay, so 6 days. Hey, if you're a super, super mega whale, that's some pretty free money right there on the sidelines. Pump our bags. But we can't talk about people pumping bags, TJ, without talking about the hot topic today. Hot topic.
Yeah.
No, the store.
Aster.
No, Aster.
Hot topic, the store. Yeah. Just a mall experience when you were a teenager back in the day when malls were a thing.
I was kind of into Spencer Gifts when I was like 14 years old.
Yeah.
I had black lights for like 6 months, maybe even like a year and a half. Chat, did you have black lights? TJ, admittedly, you were sheltered. Were you allowed to have black lights, or was it too occult?
No, we have black light. I was just over at the place taking black lights down today because one of the piece of art is pops when you put some black light on it. So but no, Spencer's and Hot Topic were no-nos in my house. But you just sneak in there every once in a while.
Oh, there's some bad stuff in that store.
Yeah,
it was some nasty
especially for
stuff.
middle school boys.
Yeah, a 12-year-old boy does not need to be in there. We walked by Hot Topic yesterday at the mall. You're still at? All right, I love it.
All right, malls do exist. A lot. Oh, just so funny. Lava lamp. I actually think that would be fun. We're building out some of these other sets here. We have that cube going on. I actually thought it'd be really fun to get a lava lamp as a background just for the nostalgia factor, and people would like it, and it moves around. So if you guys are put a one in. Go ahead.
Or, no, I was going to say Blacklight episode, the best episode of Friends.
Yeah.
Ross and the Blacklight date.
Well, and there's also one in The Office where Dwight and Michael go to stay at some hotel and they flip a black light on. But let us know in the chat if you think a lava lamp in the background of one of our sets is a good idea. 1's in the chat for the lava lamp, 2 in the chat if you don't think we should get a lava lamp. I'm just curious.
Break it open and throw in some I don't know, some Bitcoin logo coins or something. All right, let's talk about Aster though. There's been a little bit of drama. Aster just listed on Binance. It's about 5 hours ago, maybe 6 hours ago at this point. So Binance will list Aster DEX with the seed tag applied there, 4 a.m. Yeah, so we're looking at like 6.5 hours. But moment of silence for everybody who bought the wrong Aster on Binance today. There's another one listed as ASTR. I shouldn't laugh. They jumped in at like 2.3 cents, rode it all the way up to a 3.1. Nice increase. I mean, you're looking at a 40% pump there, at least in minutes. In minutes, folks. This is, or I would say hour, and then a huge decline. Why did it take people that long to figure it out? That's the real question there. So,
because it was going up. If it's going up, who cares?
Oh man, I feel bad. What's the matter with me? You've got a black light. It's $19.99. Ross, man, Red Ross is the best Ross. Everybody knows that. Now, look at some of these Aster statistics, though. It is just totally insane. Very bullish. The best source for DEX volume, coin market cap. Oh, DeFi Llama. Aster is number one, 90% market share on the volume. Look at these numbers here. Trading volume, 115 million. Hype with only 9. Huge difference there.
Billion, right?
Billion. So massive amount. But was it that simple? What's going on here? This is the main dev of DeFi Llama. He built DeFi Llama. DeFi Llama delisted Aster. And here he has a thread going over the complaints people had about the Aster delisting. Why not just report data? Our users trust our data, make investing decisions based on it. If we report incorrect data, they make the wrong decisions. People are, going over the FUD. Was I paid to delist it? Says he doesn't hold any Aster. He doesn't hold any XPL. So what's going on here? People are upset about this. This is from Crypto Bitlord. He's no longer using DeFi Llama, saying they can't be trusted. He's only going to use Dune moving forward because it's open source. People pull their data from them. So let's look into the details here. What the heck's going on? DeFi Llama to delist Aster perpetual volume over integrity concerns, saying they had the trading volumes on Aster were almost perfectly correlated to Binance volume. So if you don't know, Binance's founder is CZ. CZ has a heavy hand in helping Aster succeed. So some are saying CZ is manipulating and, maybe using the Binance war chest to pump Aster here. So DeFi Llama, delisting the DEX volume here due to the data integrity concerns. Trading volume on Aster, which is linked to CZ, is now mirroring Binance perp volumes almost exactly. I think I have, I don't have the thread. Oh yeah, you can see it here. A little bit hard to see, but Is it going to not let me? It's not going to let me scroll the photo here. Oh, wow. All right. So let me add to a new. Okay. I've scrolled too far, folks. All right, here we go. So you kind of see a little bit of correlation right here. This is one of the main charts that they're looking at. It's recent volume. It's looking at Aster and it's looking at Binance. And you can see really, really strong correlation with some of these volumes. So Aster emerged as a competitor to Hyperliquid in September and has captured narrative attention from the crypto community due to CZ's ties with the platform and the popularity of Hyperliquid. Now, when you look at some of the other charts, you'll see no correlation. So this is, I forget what exchange they're using here, but they're saying, yeah, you can look, this is what it's supposed to look like. That's what Aster and Binance look like. Supposed to look like this, but it looks like this. So, people are kind of up in arms about this. I think Solana community, they're being real quiet right now, TJ. They're being real quiet about the manipulated trading and the wash trading and the fake volume. What are your thoughts on, is there something there, or is this a nothing burger?
It's some of both. I think there's definitely, Binance well known for wash trading. They're one of the biggest exchanges out there. Tons of definitely number one in volume. You can't argue with that. But a lot of people have always argued with what their volume numbers are. Because they say, oh, there's wash trading in there. So, I definitely think CZ is. I don't think he's directly pumping it himself necessarily, but I do. I mean, he's definitely advocating for it, doing a lot of marketing for it, retweeting it all the time, and pumping it up, which I think is great if you're an Aster holder. I don't know why you would be complaining about it. And so I guess to me, it's tough in crypto because a lot of trading and a lot of crypto is born out of kind of an idealistic philosophical viewpoint of the way the world should be in privacy and all this. So hey, there you go, you're not complaining, you're up 30%. By the way, if you guys want to trade on LBank or join our free trading group, there is a link in the description. Get in there because that's where all our calls go. But back to the trading story, what I was saying with Aster, a lot of people do, they think, oh, it should be this, it should be decentralized, it should be this, that, and the other. But the end of the day is like most people are here to make money. And if you bought, when we first saw Aster, I mean, it was simply, my thesis on Aster was, oh, I think CZ is going to support this. If CZ supports this, it's going to go up a lot. I don't really care about the underlying product, what the volume, it's nice to see some of these numbers. Do I think they're 100% accurate? No. Do I think that it is getting a fair amount of volume? Yes. Would I rather hold Aster than another random, I bought Apex in freaking when it launched. I don't know when it was, like 2022, just because it was coming out of Bybit. And I figured, well, people from Bybit could pump it if they wanted to. So, sometimes your thesis needs to be simplified. Bitcoin, it's finite, it's immutable, it's open source. Like that's it. You don't really need to get into too many of the details. And, you can get into tech on all these other different things. But if you overthink it, I feel like a lot of times people think their way out of easy gains in crypto. So to me,
because these cabals can pump, to TJ's point, like Bybit can pump that DEX there. And remember when Bybit lost $1 billion, they were hacked for like $1 or $2 billion. They're like, oh, let me just dig in my couch. Found the money.
We got it. We had it
the whole time.
Yeah, and Binance is the same way. So if Binance, and again, CZ isn't Binance, Aster isn't Binance, but there's definitely a high crossover. The people that are at Aster now used to be at Binance. And one of the other thesis I saw that was interesting is the best founders and tech entrepreneurs they understand disruption. Binance was a disruption in tech and in finance, and they know how to disrupt themselves, because if you rest on your laurels, something will come in and disrupt that business. And so you might as well, and Hyperliquid was attempting to do that, and arguably having some success taking away business from one of the largest exchanges out there. And so, I think it's good free market competition. It's great to have it. If you're a Hyperliquid whale and you think Hype is way better than Aster, great, trade on it, use it. That's fine. If you want a lower cap thing that you think will continue to grow in value, buy some Aster, buy both. I don't really care. I think they're both probably going to perform well, and they both fit into my thesis of that meta of DeFi being relevant, whether it's a DeFi exchange, whether it's other infrastructure within crypto. That's where my focus is. And, just don't overthink it. I see way too many people think they're, out overthink what's going to happen with Ethereum, and it could be as simple as like, oh, hey, it's a top 10 coin. People don't want to buy Bitcoin, so they're going to buy Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano just because they're in the top 10. That's it.
All right, let's get into some of these comments. Yeah, people are pointing out Bitcoin. Bitcoin's ripping. This is the 1 minute chart. Yeah, you see, setting in a new all-time high for today, but it still has to pass where it was over the weekend there. So getting really, really close to that Sunday morning peak, Saturday night peak there.
Let me ask you this. I know you're gonna hit some questions, but all right. So we're coming in right up to that all-time high again. Where do you think we run all week? Where do you think we end up by Friday or Saturday with this weekend? Or what price you seeing? Put you on the spot.
A lot of people calling for 130. So that means one of two things. It's going to be like $2,000 away from there. It's either going to get short or it's going to blast past because everybody shorts it. So it wicks up to like 132. I want to be a little bit more pessimistic. I'm coming in 128.
128. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take
plus it's like a nice root number, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256.
I think I actually, to be honest, I agree. I think that's actually a fairly reasonable number. But just for fun's sake, I'm the permabull. I'll take 137. We'll go super bullish by next Sunday night, but we'll see.
All right. So the near people talking about near here. Let's talk about near. So I got the chart for you right here. Near, this is the monthly chart. This is something that we pointed out a while ago. You look at the weekly, you look at some of the larger time frames. This is bullish divergence. I think it's a fair shot to just hit this trend line. I know it's a little simplistic. I'm not trying to just be too derivative here, but I do think that that's going to be a pretty clear textbook stopping point. I mean, maybe you can kind of play with the lines. Maybe it's going to look something like this. Maybe help 4 hour even. So I think you're gonna have a couple trend lines to pay attention to the upside. But to me, I'm pretty bullish on this. Again, just kind of looking at that RSI. This is the daily. See the RSI just getting more and more strength there. We got to CZ. Is he going to pump DeSci again? I do think so, but Aster is taking his mind share. He will pivot to Giggle Academy at some point. He'll pivot to the DeSci stuff at some point. But right now, he's a little bit focused, but all these billionaires want to live forever. So yeah, they're not going to just give up on the science and the longevity research. For sure.
I see DeSci being a hot meta next cycle. I see that's a decent thing to accumulate in, say, 2027, 2028.
We need Brian Johnson to get viral again or something. But yeah, I would agree. It might be something that we see a little bit later.
Because you're right. Brian Armstrong that's basically his main thesis. CZ has talked about it a lot. Almost all
Charles Hoskinson is investing heavily in it. I mean, you find a billionaire, I'll find you a guy that wants to live forever.
That's right. Well, speaking of not to get us too off topic, but did you see the clip of Elon Musk talking about the synergy between Neuralink and the Optimus robot? And he's basically saying pretty soon, now
you're gonna have a Gundam.
Yeah, you can live forever. Basically, you can already control the hand and the arm and the foot. Pretty soon they'll get full body control, and you can theoretically inhabit the robot and live forever. So
it is. And he even says, or go ahead.
No, he even says the future is gonna be weird. Pretty cool, but it's gonna be weird.
See, I'm gonna be trying to direct my robot to give someone the finger in traffic, and he's gonna be like, that does not compute. I will not flip off the driver. Right. There's also a robot from Invincible. It's the same thing there. And let me just end with this: 17 countries have rolled out or passed digital ID laws in the last 3 months. I've never heard of the country EU, but UK, Laos, China, Taiwan, Mexico, Zambia, Canada, Ethiopia, Thailand, Vietnam, Australia, Costa Rica, Switzerland, Papua New Guinea. Totally just coincidence, I am sure. Remember, they don't want you spending money. They don't want you to have freedom. They want to starve you. They want to imprison you. They want to put you under their thumb, and they want to silence you. One of the ways we can fight that is with Bitcoin. Bitcoin stands for freedom. Do not stand for surveillance. Do not stand for the draconian state. Do not stand for any of that. I know where we stand in the Disco fam. So I just want to share that. Pour one out for those 17 countries. If you see anything in your neck of the woods, fight, resist. I refuse to sign it. I don't want to be a Tesla omni robot. I want to feel like a human. I want to feel like a free, sovereign individual. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Absolutely not. Freedom is worth fighting for. That's why we have Bitcoin. That is basically our only hope, because they will really force a lot of these things on us. Smash the like button on your way out. We really appreciate all of you guys. It's a blast hanging out and chatting with you every single day. We're going to go make some other videos, and we'll see you at the top. We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.